So what is a Chicano, and why do most Hispanics think they're Chicanos? Let me tell you why. Now this one might get some people mad, but facts are facts, just hear me out. So the definition of a Chicano is a person who's born in America, but both of his or her parents were born in Mexico. So if your mom and dad aren't Mexican nationals that moved to America and immigrated over here, then you ain't a Chicano. Most of us out here in New Mexico are Hispanic, sangre de conquistadores. Our ancestors were the conquistadores from Spain that came and conquered New Mexico. We also have blood of the Native Americans, mostly Pueblo Native Americans who settled here, who intermingled and fought with the Spaniards. 400 years ago, in the year 1598, Juan de Oñate settled in northern New Mexico in what is now called San Juan. It used to be called Okeyawinge, and it was a pueblo that he came and took over, kicked all the natives out, made them leave, and settled it with all his soldiers, his knights, as they were called, or in Spanish, caballeros, kind of like gentlemen, like a nobleman, but those were knights in Spanish culture back in the day. When they wore their boots, if they had spurs on them, then that means they earned their knighthood. When they earned their knighthood, they earned their spurs. So when you see the pictures of the conquistadores like Oñate, and he has spurs on his boots, that shows you that he was a knight. Apple bottom jeans, boots with the spurs. Anyway, Oñate and his men settled in that pueblo and named it San Juan de los Caballeros, some shit like that. There's a lot of stories and I can't tell them all, but there was some savage things that happened from 1598 to 1607. A lot of natives were slaughtered, including Acoma Pueblo, where 600 to 800 got slaughtered in a 6-day battle, which is why the natives are still tearing off our statues and protesting to this day. So in 1607, they arrested Oñate and took him to Mexico City in chains. They arrested him for the savagery that he was doing, mostly for Acoma Pueblo. In Acoma, they killed his nephew and a few other soldiers. The natives did. They kind of rebelled and killed like 13 soldiers. I don't remember the number. They killed a good little handful of soldiers. When Oñate heard about his nephew being one of the ones that got killed, his nephew's name was Juan de Zaldivar. He sent his other nephew, Juan's brother, Vicente de Zaldivar, to Acoma with some soldiers. In a 6-day battle, anywhere from 600 to 800 natives were slaughtered. There's stories that they were chopping off their arms and legs and throwing them over the cliff. There's stories that they were chopping off their heads. They were burning their houses. It was a savage battle. And then the prisoners that did survive, Oñate was known to chop off a hand and a foot of each of them so they couldn't grow up and fight against him. For the males and the females, he dispersed throughout the kingdom of New Spain to be slaves or whatever the fuck. It's kind of fucked up. Well, that's why he got arrested in 1607 for all that shit that he was doing. And that's when Santa Fe was found here. So the Viceroy of Spain, which is pretty much the one that like speaks for the king, like the king's second in command, he ruled on this side of the world in Mexico City. While he told this dude named Pedro de Peralta to build a place, a Spanish civilization, but away from the native pueblos, so that way we don't be fighting with them and fucking with them and they don't get mad. And so they looked for one close by, and that's where they found Santa Fe. And it was a little town that the natives called Beadwater in their language. I don't know why. There was a river flowing, which is now just a big ass ditch. But they built Santa Fe right there, where the plaza's at, the cathedral, all that shit downtown. That's where they settled. In 1607 is when they're ordered to settle there. In 1609 they started building it, and in 1610 it was established. Santa Fe, New Mexico, the capital of the northern province of New Spain. Then you had the capital of the southern province in Mexico City, and then you had a road that connected Mexico City to Santa Fe called the Royal Road, El Camino Real. Anyway, so most of the people from New Mexico are Hispanic, mestizo, which is Native American mixed with Spanish. So just identify as Hispanic. I understand that Chicano is like a way to label the Latinos that aren't Cuban, Puerto Rican, Dominican, the ones that are of Mexican heritage. But I just want to let you guys know so you know the facts. A Chicano is somebody with Mexican parents that was born in America. A Hispanic is somebody of Spanish blood. Most of us out here in New Mexico are Hispanic and not Chicano. Now don't get me wrong, there's a lot of paisas out here, so there is a lot of Chicanos, but they're the Mexicans, right? We're the Hispanics. We're the mestizos. Anyway, I just wanted to teach the people out there who don't know, all the homies and the homegirls. I'm not trying to disrespect If you call yourself a Chicano, that's cool, because I understand. They call me Chicano rap because I rap, and they call me Chicano, but I'm Hispanic. I don't identify as Chicano, I identify as Hispanic. I'm a coyote like fuck because I have mixed breeds. But if they ask me a race, it's Hispanic. Ethnicity, white, because Spain is in Europe. Look up your history and you'll learn more. Watch my channel and you'll learn more. If you have any questions of anything, you should ask, so I could explain it. Any history questions, anything about New Mexico, ask me. I bet you I know it. I've been reading books and studying this shit for years. Let me know.